How would you like to achieve your first million? And today we have Chance, an entrepreneur that has dedicated his life to high quality video and audio, and it's gonna blow your mind when he shares his product that he creates for his clients. So Chance, tell us, what are the 5 steps that you recommend entrepreneurs out there in order to sell the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Man, Harry, thank you so much for inviting me here. I'm excited to
Pleasure.
visit with you. 5 steps on, man, it's so wild when you think about all the different products and things out there. I can only tell you what's worked for me, Harry. I think the people need to identify a need and then master a skill to get it. That's actually the first step. Find a need, find something that people need, and then become really, really, really good at it, authentically really good. And the next thing is you got to know your audience. I'm in the video world. My background is radio, so I talk in terms of audience instead of clients. Know your audience. Know the people that want that need, that will respect the skills that you've mastered. And then next, which was the hardest part for me, was to build a system. I work in the arts, and we tend to be flighty and lofty and, what feels right? Well, at the root of that, to have a successful business, you got to have a system that's replicable. And I think we've done that. And then next, and I fuss with the order of these two, but you got to build a team, Harry. You got to have people that you can trust that all do something way better than you as the founder. You want everybody on your team to do things better than you, so that you can focus on growing the business. And then the last thing is a lesson that I got from Walt Disney, who's my hero of all business people, and that is obsess on quality. I want to make sure that I don't make any sacrifices. If there's ever a flip of a coin on a decision to make, what my company and my team will do is, well, what is the better quality? And that's what we're going to choose.
Consistency, the biggest challenge in business. Um, how you manage to pull this off in a business that you are, which you are surrounded. No wonder why what business is your favorite character is my one also because I'm a creator, right? So what
Yes,
Disney
sir.
was a creator, he never stopped to create, and at some point I think he was in bankrupt with very little money, and then he created Mickey Mouse, and the rest is history. So the creator never stopped to create. The problem with us, with creators, is that we create and we create and we don't stop to create. But in business, you also need to be able to implement and to be consistent. So how you manage to get an expertise or get a strength in these ones that I just chat with you a few minutes ago, but I know that this one could be one of your weakness. And in order to succeed in business, you need to turn this weakness in strength. How you manage consistency in your business and actually doers, okay? Because in your particular environment with the recording, the audio, the film industry, everybody's an artist, so everybody is a creator, everybody have ideas, millions of ideas all the time, but you need doers that do the stuff in high quality and to be consistent. And how you become that challenge.
Man, I think it would be the number 3 thing from the question you asked me out of the gate, and that's to build a system. And the only way to do
Wow.
it is volume. I got to tell you, we've done more than 800 films at this point, and the
Wow.
first 100, I'll still stand by them that they're wonderful films. The families love them. We checked all the boxes, but I would probably cringe a little bit watching them because this was before we started coming up with
With the
a with a
system.
with a system, with a program to follow. But the only way we could create a system is by getting feedback from people that trusted us. They went with their heart and said, "I love my dad. I want to make this. Figure it out." Well, it was only those first clients that would give us feedback that allowed us to start to see patterns. Once you start seeing patterns, well, now you can create a system and you can know what works most of the time. And that's what we've done. We've built processes and systems, and it's so hard. Again, we're in the space of the arts, the creative arts. It's there's a lot of subjectivity that's still there, and everybody on the team, they have areas where they have absolute creative control, but at the root of all that is a process and our systems that need to stick to, because they're what work. They're what deliver. They're what let me send the final video to the client with just nothing but joy, knowing they're going to love it.
And when you have a system, you can scale, because I presume that when you have clients, they could be all over United States, and sometimes you won't be able to fly, and fly yourself and your team. This is gonna be expensive, gonna make the end product more expensive, I believe. And it's my understanding, for what we spoke before, that you actually can produce a documentary for the loved ones with the high quality, such as that even this documentary, if you present it to Netflix, they will be able to take it because it complies with all the quality standard. And this is we're talking about high quality in terms of sound, video, and everything. So how, guys, can you scale, grow, and be consistent and deliver this high quality? I assume that cost effective, because last time that I checked, to create the documentary, how long are the documentary that you guys produce for the families?
Hour to 2 hours.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
So
60 to 90 minutes. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Wow, 60 to 90 minutes. That's a lot of material. It's a lot of recording, a lot of editing involved, a lot going on in this. Yeah. So
yes, sir.
how guys, can you keep that affordable? I don't think that that someone can actually afford that, because it's like you having your own movie, right? Talk about 90 minutes. It's really a movie.
Oh, it really is. It's a feature-length film. You know, I bet,
Wow.
I don't know, I've never looked, but I bet I've made more feature-length films than anybody in the world.
Well,
that's a lot.
You're talking about large volume, yeah? It's
yes,
very
sir.
impressive what you have done.
If you look at it from
800 films, you said?
800, yes, sir.
Oh
yes,
my
sir.
God.
If you look at it from the first principles, that everything has elements, everything has blocks, and we really rooted it down to what is, things like framing, focus, what's in focus, how are you framed, what cameras to use, everything. It's almost predetermined. The way that our films look it's based on principles that were set in the 50s in the golden era of Hollywood. That's what we match. When you're looking at the screen, the people are going to look, they're going to be the right size. And what does right mean? Well, right is what you've seen in every professional documentary you've ever seen. So we just make sure we match the people that we know have been fantastic. The real magic of what we do, sir, is through the course of the interview, it's the ability to visit with somebody for a day or 2 days, but not to waste their time, yet make sure they have fun and cover everything they want to cover. So we have them fill out some forms. I need to know not just about the subject's life, but the family, the people that love this guy or this couple. What does the family, what do the sons and daughters want? What do they really want us to focus on? Well, now I'm not having to fish as much. I know what the sons and daughters want us to visit about, the nieces, the nephews, whoever has given us information. I know the people that love this guy, I'm zeroed in on what it is that they want to see. And then we set the cameras up in predictable ways, that the way they're supposed to be. And I just have a conversation. I want to make them forget that the cameras are even there. I want to BS with Dad for a day. That's what I do. Now there may be a lot going on in my head behind the scenes, but to Dad, we're just chit-chatting.
Oh my God, Chance, but it sounds very simple, but I'm telling you that I've been supporting actor in several films, and when you go to those sets, you see a team easily or 20 people there. You have sound experts, you have cameras, several. The cameras, they're not particularly small, they are big machines, and they are people I see in the films, someone recording and actually someone else just focusing, taking
Focus
care
puller,
of the focus. Yeah.
Now,
So two people for one camera. And then and this is the film quality. This is what so of course we're not expecting that what you produce it has a little team of 20 people and movement and extras and so. However, it's a high level of complexity in order
It
to,
is.
even if it's an interview, because I presume you interview not only the person, you interview the family, you interview them, maybe you go around, you get some surroundings around the
The
house, you
B-roll. Mm-hmm.
need to feel, so then the documentary doesn't get bored, and then you need to have to have a script, so it's the thing at the end of the day is entertaining, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's like it's literally a movie,
No, it
a
literally
documentary.
is.
It's a
Yes,
documentary, so
sir.
it's something that is not easy to do. And on top of that, with normal people, because at least with actors, even with actors, they rehearse, they are aware of the camera, they are not scared. I train a lot of people about public speaking, and I can tell you that there are people that are more scared to speak in front of the camera than even to speak in public. And now you need to deal with that fear, and the people have to relax, and so much going on, and yet you manage to pull this off big time and in a large volume. So tell me a little bit more, Chance, in terms of scalability, how you design this system. For example, if you had to, because if you had done 800, I'm under the impression that sometimes you're doing 3 or 4 at the same time. That correct?
Yes, sir. We like
Oh
right
my God!
now we have
Wow!
at different stages of production right now. We probably have
Wow!
23 films right now, which means 23 in the can. 23 interviews are done, and we're in edit or revisions. And to go back to your point about the complexity of the films, you really did describe how we started with a large crew showing up, lots of people.
That's what
And
it
what I
takes.
found, well, in the early days, it did. And what I found that it was intimidating. Imagine the subject or the actor in the film is an 83-year-old man. And here comes 7 people into his house.
Oh my God! With a big camera? No
It
way!
was exactly. And mind you, it may have looked great, but you've got this wooden grandpa who's not comfortable because there's all these people in his house. So we went from 7, we got it down to 5, then to 4, then to 3. So now we
Wow!
have a 3-man
With
crew.
3 people? Wow!
But listen, so
They
much
have
of
to be
it,
very good.
all very good, and it's technology, Harry. It's things, it's the cameras have gotten so much better. And how we frame it, how we set it up, it's we make it so that it's not a big scary thing in the shoot. Now, of course, there are giant lights and there are microphones and all that is in Dad's living room.
There's
But I
no way
promise,
that you can, no way that you can,
yeah, you gotta
especially
have it.
you that you don't compromise quality.
We don't, no sir.
So,
Yeah,
but also, these cameras, they can get smaller, but they still, you need
yeah, it's
high
still
expertise to know how to operate those things,
yes
because
sir.
I'm aware, focus is a big deal, and the frames, and these cameras, they think that they are coming from another planet. You really need to know how to operate them in order to
Yeah.
shoot the high quality. It's not enough to, I mean, they're already very expensive, but hey, I got a small camera, that's it. Let's do a documentary. No way, it doesn't work like this.
No,
You
yeah.
need to
What
know
I
how to operate those cameras, and it's very complex.
It is. And that's why going back to my list at the beginning, it's building your team and making sure that everybody is better at me than what they
Wow, with the
do.
3 people is very impressive.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
for
My
sound,
guy,
one for camera, one for light. That's how you do it. Oh my God, Chance.
yes, sir. My guy Ben knows way
Wow.
more about my cameras. I know how
Wow.
they work, I know how they function, and I bought them, but you don't want me running camera. Okay? You want Ben doing that.
Absolutely, you need people with a very high level of expertise. Wow, that's very very impressive. How you manage to actually systemize something that is really really challenging, because
Yeah.
the first time that I went to, this is true story, my girlfriend, we have one of our clients, she's a film producer, so we time to time get invited to the set to be supporting actors, yeah, and we enjoyed that a lot, because we supporting our clients. So I remember the first time that I was there, everybody was an actor by me, yeah. And so they were saying, "How you end up here? Do you study acting?" I said, "No, no, no. We we're just friends with the producer. That's why we end up here." And I'm thinking, why? This is a supporting role. So why you need to be an actor? Why you need to be an actor? It was a period movie of 18, yeah, early Victorian. We were
Hmm.
shooting in Bath, and it was in a scene about 40 people. We have homeless. Everybody was an actor, and they give me a role to sell apples. I remember that my role was simple, and they say, okay, they say action, and all these horse coming with all these people in the middle of the street, the homeless walking around, everybody period dressing around, and I'm selling my apples like I'm in the 20th century, pushing, buy my apple, and I hear cut. And somebody came to me and said, listen, uh, can you don't please don't touch the apples? Just, wait till the people come. So I realized that I didn't have any clue of what I was doing. And more of that over 40 people had to stop and shoot again because of me. So I realized, I realized then and there, that's the main reason why everybody should be have an acting experience and so on.
Well,
Now
you
I've
got
done
yours.
several. I've been
Oh,
several times now, so I got the idea now. But then I remember my girlfriend Lily. We do a lot of speaking all over the world, and we used to be in front of camera. And my girlfriend Lily, once she has a speaking role in one of the movies, and I'm telling Lily rehearse, and Lily, I got it. Lily rehearse and whatever, and wow, when I saw these big cameras, three big cameras, big, huge
mhm.
like this, and all this amount of people go, and Lily was rehearsing in the train on the way. I'm saying, oh my God, this is gonna end up in disaster. Thanks God that she got it, she got it right. To be honest, on the first or second take, and she didn't get intimidated about this big camera. But I can tell you, she's someone that speak in public a lot, and someone that do a lot of TV interviews and things like that. Used to cameras, but these cameras, they're not normal cameras. They're huge,
They're huge.
and they,
And
they
two,
do intimidate, and a lot of people also, because you have a lot of people around you. You see maybe in the scene 3 people, 4 people, but around you is
there's
like
all around.
15,
Yeah.
20 people. The sound, the producing, the everybody taking care, and it does intimidate a lot. So the fact that you manage to reduce all these intimidation process and still create high quality, that's something amazing. So how you came up with this idea, I think it's brilliant.
Ah, thank you. Well, ultimately, I had been doing traditional film work, TV commercials and internet videos and different things that I'm sure you're familiar with your enterprise. And a buddy of mine who's in radio asked me, "Will you film my dad? He's turning 75." And I was like,
Wow.
"What's
For the
what's wrong with
birthday.
your dad?" He said,
Yeah.
"Nothing. I want my kids to know their papa. I want them to know their grandfather." And
Oh,
so I
wow.
was like, "I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but okay." So I went over and I set the camera up and I plopped him down and visited with him and asked him about growing up in East Texas and what life was like in the 50s and 60s and
Ah,
what his parents
wow.
did for a living. And just, we talked over the course of the day and ended up editing it together, treating it just like a project, just like a traditional project. And then he got it and he loved it and he talked about it on his radio program. So a few other people called and said, "Hey, I'd like to do a film." So I did a few more. And then Harry, about a year later, it was at Thanksgiving time. My dad, my mom, well, my stepdad, my mom's husband, told us that he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer
Oh,
and that he
wow.
had 12 to 18 months to live. And we're like drinking a beer at a campfire, and we're like, what? So I asked him if he would do the film, if we could film his story, and he said sure. And about 2 months later, we sat him down and had him tell his story. Well, we filmed on a Tuesday, and he passed away on Sunday. So it wasn't a year; it was 2 months. And it was only after that that I realized
The
that this isn't
power.
just the
Wow.
power. This isn't just another project. This isn't a gig. This matters to families because I was now the prospective client of my own company. And I realized my wife and I were like, gosh, this is powerful. So we figured it out and said, let's launch this thing. And boy, did we. So we launched it, and it's just been an amazing run of growing and learning and meeting families all over the country, And in fact, we have one that we're in the middle of production that's going to send us over to your side of the Atlantic for some work in October. We're actually going to Mumbai and Dubai and Antwerp and London for one film. But at the root of it is a man who loves his father, and his dad happens to have associates and family all over the world, and he's got the resources to do it. So off we go.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes, sir.
Chance, I think that the biggest lesson here, and in this broadcast on the top of 5 steps how to make your first million, you will see stories of entrepreneurs sharing the vision here. And a lot of people, even me, I started the business like this. I solved the problem for myself, and then we start to solve the problem for other people. This is kind of sometimes click. What is that if you think you are the client of your own product, and then you say, why no, this is powerful, let me try to help other people to achieve. And I think the idea is brilliant. I love it. Yeah. The issue is this one, how you keep consistency, how you keep quality, and how you produce a 90-minute documentary, which is a lot of minutes, where this is what the challenge is, because yeah, you said only 3 people. Oh my God, but these only 3 people, they have to be genius.
They are. They're very good.
They can. I still don't know how you do it, because the camera, you need 2 or 3 cameras. So what happened? One person operating the 2 or 3 cameras? I just don't get it. But anyway, this is so these 3 people are amazing, right? That they can move around, and they can follow your standards. And not only, I presume that you not only have 3 people, because can be done in different states. So you have 3 good people, mainly everywhere. Or you guys travel?
We do travel, but everything that happens in our film is standard Hollywood roles. So we can hire freelancers out of any major city is going to have qualified people that I can literally just hand them a PDF that says, here's our standards. And now I know professionals, this is what's we're gonna be able to achieve,
and they know that they can deliver that because they are professionals.
This is what they do. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Wow, amazing.
I think
how about editing?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think that's where
also
that's editing is the hardest part. But
absolutely.
Again, there's no substitute, and this is not just for my company. This is for everybody listening. There is no substitute for volume. There's no substitute for repetition. There's no substitute for reps. We so rarely run into something that we haven't done numerous times.
Wow.
So we know how to address it. We know how to make it right. And again, with technology, our edit process for a standard film is 6 weeks. So from the day we shoot,
oh wow,
to sending the review, it's only 6 weeks.
Very
and there's
short,
about 6 different people will edit, and our process is like a graduated process. So the very first editor that gets the film, he might not be the world's greatest finesse editor, but he's a storyteller.
He has a system, exactly.
He's a storyteller, and he knows, get rid of the bad, keep the good, and put it in the right order. Okay, and then he's going to move it to somebody that's a little bit more adept at the nuanced editing skills, who's going to own it further. And then by the time it gets through 4 or 5 phases, you've got an hour to an hour and a half piece of brilliance that, because the family has told us what they want, when I do the interview, I am getting the responses that I know that the family wants. It's really, gosh, it's more like Legos. Once you've done enough, I know where they snap together. My team knows where it snaps together, and we know how audiences react to when we do that. So I don't mean to demystify it. I'm proud of what we do.
Wow,
it's not easy.
Very impressive. Yeah, I can tell.
but we've
I still don't know how you pull this off. It's amazing and do it so many times, right? Like I
Yeah, I'm
said,
believing.
I've been
I'm in.
what's going on with because create high quality documentary of the standards that you're talking about um, is something that I think you're the first person that can bring this to the masses.
I think
Meaning,
so.
yeah,
I've built
because
again the value, like if on the entrepreneurial side as opposed to the sales side, what we've developed. And I'm not saying me. I have a team, Harry. There's a group of us. It's my company, but I couldn't do it alone. What's special about Heritage Films? There are other people that will put a camera down in front of Dad and get his story. There's nobody that does it at our quality, and there's nobody that does it at our volume. And those two things right there are what make this business conversation worthy for your audience. It is, we have come up with a system that works. It is scalable.
wow,
We're only 10 years in. We're only just now at the point where we are hiring other people. We are launching in other markets. I'm doing
wow,
all of this out of Houston, but I wouldn't be able to scale if we didn't build
a
SOP.
process system.
Once upon a time, I was in the Army. And so I use a lot of Army phrases. And we have, at my company, we have SOPs, standard operating procedures for all the things we do. Those SOP booklets are what make us scalable. Not my talent, not my skills, not Ben's unbelievable skills. No, no, no. It's those SOPs that make this work elsewhere.
Yeah, and then it takes experience to create this SOP. I remember that that when I started my company, we started to write the first SOP, and it was two paragraphs, and then the whole thing started to grow more because every time that we have a problem, we need to add a paragraph. If this happened, do this, and this happened, and this thing that started two, three paragraphs, now it become a lot, and to create that culture that every time that something happens, hey, let's correct the SOP so not so it doesn't happen again. And
Yes, sir.
it's something that it never ends, no? To keep this SOP fine and in tune all the time because the more you grow, the more you scale, things will happen
Right.
that at the beginning you were not counting on, and the more volume you have, the more things, the more chance that you have that things happen to you that other people are doing less volume.
Yes, sir.
So the let's talk about, when you're talking about business, you were talking about a problem that that you can solve, but actually that you create a lot of value for your clients. And I
Hmm.
think that at the end of the day, the product that you create is priceless because you can have an experience for that person. I know that, but my girlfriend Lily, she has a book publishing company, and we publish books for entrepreneurs. So we are aware about this interview process. That if you don't ask the right questions, and you won't be able to pull out the story out of the person because this is not a skill. So she's a ghostwriter, so even my own books, I haven't wrote my books, any of them. My written English is really bad, so when I want to write a book, my girlfriend comes, she asks me a bunch of questions about the topic, I answer, she recorded, and there you go. After after 3-4 weeks, I have the book. But
Wow.
yeah, and
Now
also,
that's
and the
efficient.
words, are my words. No,
Yes.
so everybody read it and say, "Wow, how are you speaking? That this is how you wrote that." So she's used my words, and she had done this for several entrepreneurs. So the whole point is that process of extracting the story out of an entrepreneur, out of somebody, a grandfather, those questions, they need to be asked in a certain way and have to cover a certain type of question. And you said that before you even go there, they have to fill a formulary and they have to start to answer some question to give you clues how they think it's gonna have, what the direction of the documentary will take. But in that moment, also, um, following the procedure, someone that is asking the questions, they need to know that it had to build a story, had to build a script around all this line of questioning. And I don't know, we've been there, we have done it for several years, and it's a process that on our side, it never ends. It's always need
Right.
improvement. And it takes a lot of trial and error until you finally got it, right?
It sure does. I would say, Harry, that the a lot of what I do it's in the nonverbal area of interviewing. So they're going to fill out forms. I'm going to know all the basics: the birthday, the birthplace, what their parents did for a living, places they've lived, their kids, jobs, their favorite pets, their favorite sports teams. Like 25 generic basic questions. But from their responses from these, I'm going to know things. Like I'm going to, and where do they live? Do they live on a 5-acre ranchette? Do they live in the city? Little things like that. Were they a business executive? Were they a blue collar job? I'm going to know enough about them so that from the time I walk in, before I ever show up, I might have boots on, and I'm a Texan. I'm perfectly comfortable in boots. I wear this golf hat in a lot of my films, particularly in Houston because of the oil and gas business, but my grandparents had a golf station. So
Wow.
anybody that's of a certain age, 60 to 80 years old, they're going to see that golf on them and they're going to have a little bit of, I just need to break that ice. I would say, I'm sorry, there's a book and it's right behind me right there. Oh gosh, come on, where is it? I might have loaned it out. At any rate, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale
Yes,
Carnegie. Everybody knows the
Carnegie.
book.
Yeah, yeah,
I keep it with me. If you were to shorten that book to a single sentence, it would be ask short questions with long answers. Make them feel comfortable and ask short questions with long answers. That's at the root. That's my company. I'm going to go
because you
in.
can extract the story, because like this, Chance, one thing is to answer a 25 forms of questions, completely different is to build the story around that. It won't be
Oh,
enough. It won't be enough. This is
no.
gonna give you a clue, an idea
This
how they think. But then when you're there and you asking this question, is when the story is really gonna come out.
totally.
and
Yeah,
and
it's two
uh,
things. It's that, and recall I have the people that love them tell me what they want to know. So
wow,
their curiosity is
wow.
really what builds my story. And then the art of story is something I've studied a lot. Stories have a beginning, middle, and end. Joseph
Oh,
Campbellian
yeah,
theory.
yeah, yeah.
We try to make our life story follow a Campbellian arc. You introduce the hero, you have helpers along the way, you have a period of darkness. We try to match all that things that are in every story, from Star Wars to Wuthering Heights. Everybody's life is a story. That's what we do. We turn their story into something that's comfortable to an audience.
Yeah, that's really fantastic. Chance, and how you started, because you love films, but do you have any entrepreneur in your family? What give you this entrepreneurial vibe? Because at the end, I can tell you very skilled person, and is you're not gonna struggle to find jobs in any film studio or anything. But
Right.
how you decide that you want to have your own company, you want to design your own destiny, and you're gonna build a team that is gonna fulfill a great mission. And do you have any entrepreneurs in your family? How this is the entrepreneurship vibe came into you?
Well, thank you. I I'll answer your question with a story because I'm a storyteller. Uh,
Absolutely.
When I graduated high school, I was Mr. Everything. I was class president all 4 years, multi-year
Wow.
letteran, straight A student, everything, full ride academic scholarship to the University of Texas in Austin. And I was majoring in radio, television, and film. I was really set up to win. And I get to UT and I get some really lousy advice that says there's no money in radio, television, and film. Switch to business. You're a smart guy. So I took that advice, changed
Wow.
majors, failed out within a year, made a zero point 0 my first semester and a zero point 0.8 my second, failed out of college. It took so many turns in my life. In the early 2000s, I had been doing some music stuff, and I wrote a song about Yao Ming, the basketball player that went viral before things went viral. And
Wow.
it went crazy. It was on Sports Center. It was on the David Letterman show. They played my song everywhere, and I turned that into a job in radio. So I turned music into a job in radio, and I was a creative director of CBS Sports Radio 610, a CBS radio station in Houston. So now I'm working in radio, and I'm in management, and I'm doing well. And where the entrepreneurial bug came in was about 3 years into working for CBS. I decided that I thought working for a company sucked. So me and some buddies branched off and launched our own sports radio station, raised some money, and launched an
Wow.
independent sports radio station. And I did that. I was the program director of that one for a number of years. Then even that
Very
got old.
expensive back then. It was no podcast back then. It was expensive
It was early.
to
It
do
was
this.
early podcast days. It was early
Yeah, yeah,
podcast days.
pioneer of the podcast.
We tried to be, yes, sir. And from there is when I started messing around with video. This is in the mid 2000s, and I made a
Wow.
movie that I released a musical movie online that won some awards and had some fun. I decided I really liked video. But in 2011, I left radio for good to work on video full time because my passion was in video. So now in 2011, I become my own man, and I don't have to answer to any boss or any owner or any ownership group or any
Wow.
board. And it was from there, now you're only 4 years away, 5 years away from me launching Heritage Films. So it was that, gosh, you remember, go back to your early days of being an entrepreneur where you didn't know where food was coming from. Like, I have to sell this or I am bleeped. I'm screwed. Well, you figured it out. You were able to get that 2 grand or 5 grand. You were able to get it, and you survive another month. And then you survive a quarter, and then you survive a year. And next thing you know, you're not surviving, you're planning and you're building. And then
And
your
you're
buddy
writing
asks,
SOPs.
your buddy asks you to film his dad, and now you're a professional and you've got a company. There's my story.
Wow. Wow. This is a brilliant story. And this is how it is. And a lot of people only see the outcomes of the entrepreneur. Wow, look this guy, how much freedom he do what he
Oh
love.
God, all the stories that I love.
And everybody want to see the victory and the end, but being an entrepreneur is a skill. The more you practice, the better you become. And developing this skill at the beginning, you have to be able to try and try and try. You need to be like this podcast, really unstoppable.
Yes, sir.
If you really want to go for it. So definitely it's not for everybody. And but then it's in sense of fulfillment. I think that a lot of work that we do, I speak a lot in different countries, and some of those workshops that we do, even speakers and leaders, and some of the talks sometimes in London, I'm taking the metro and you see somebody come and tell me, Harry, man, I saw you speaking in this Les Brown event. You were amazing. I always dress in purple, so it's very difficult to miss me anywhere. And then I said, look, let's take a picture. This is my family. Man, I took your advice. I took what you said there, and look, my business is growing. Thank you so much. And sometimes, and after when I arrived to my house, I'm thinking like, wow, unbelievable that I say something I don't even remember when, and he remember more the event than me. And
Yeah.
I say something that actually make an impact in this person's life, and he applied, and now he has a better life. So the sense of fulfillment that give you is you get paid in another currency better than money. And
That's profound.
I think that you have experienced that when you deliver your product to your clients. That's not even about the money. It's got another go to another level because the sense of fulfillment that give you to transform someone's life to produce something that will last, especially your loved ones, is something that is priceless. So we give you, um, like I said, that level of fulfillment. That this is what it will keep you happy. It will keep you healthy because, like I said, you not only getting paid with dollars, you get paid with another currency that sometimes is better than the money, which is love and appreciation and gratefulness from for the people that you make a difference. So
No, there's no, if I could zoom into that,
go
you
for
have no
it.
idea how right what you're saying is. I have to tell everybody, I would do this for free. However, it's a business, so I'm going to charge you.
Absolutely,
I love what I do.
absolutely.
And listen to this. I've done more than 50 films for terminal people, for people in
Wow,
hospice, for people
wow,
for as recently as 4 days before they passed away. I've done
wow.
films
So tough,
when people
so
know
difficult.
they know what's coming, and you get a different level of authenticity, a different level of honesty from some. We're all terminal, Harry. We're all terminal. However,
Absolutely.
none of us are promised tomorrow, but some of us are certainly promised fewer tomorrows. And when you do those films, when I interview those people and spend time with them, it is profoundly incredible. There's a different level of honesty. One of the questions on the forum is there any areas you don't want to discuss? When people are terminal, there's nothing they will discuss everything about their life that their family wants them to talk
Wow,
about. So
wow.
yes, that's a long way of answering your question. Absolutely, it's beyond the money. It's life changing for me and hopefully for the families that bring us on.
Hmm. So, Chance, if someone is in love with our conversation, want to know more about what you guys do, how people can find you, how the process work?
Sure. Yourheritagefilm.com. Yourheritagefilm.com. Reach out. You can find out information about us there, and there's a contact us. I promise there's no pressure. It's either right or it's not. And so literally you just call, reach out, send a form in. We'll send you information. If it's something you're interested in, love to share what we do and how we do it, and capture you or your loved one's stories. I tell everybody we make feature-length documentary films for families and founders because a lot of our business is businesses, people that started a business, and that business is
The story,
effectively a child in their life. They treat it
100%.
like it. They treat it like a person. Well, we do too. We do too.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
treat their
yeah.
business like a person, like the character that it is.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me about it. Once I remember once I have this brilliant idea that it failed miserably to open a restaurant in
Oh
Brick Lane
no.
in London, and it was a total disaster. And I remember that the people were telling me, "Harry, close this business. It doesn't work." And I was getting angry at the people. I'm like, it's like my baby. How come you're talking bad about my business? It's true that the entrepreneurs, they get so emotional attached to the business uh, that it's like you having a baby. Like people talk
It
bad
really
about your
is.
baby, you're gonna defend even if it was not working.
Yeah.
So being there and but those
It,
businesses
it's
is what define the entrepreneurs at the end of the day, right?
Yes, it's why a lot of people, when they get to the point where they're going to exit a company, that a founders,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to exit. There's this incredible anxiety and discomfort. They're not just because they're worried about what the hell am I going to do tomorrow. They're worried about their baby. They are, and I
Oh
know
yeah.
that. So I'm
Oh
able to be
yeah.
like, well, what do you hope for ABC company? They're like,
Mm-hmm.
God, I just hope they don't get up.
Yeah, here in this broadcast, we have stories of people that have shared that friends of them they are about to exit the company. They giving a very good price to exit, and the guy say, "Well, I'm not okay with the price. Well, let me review it." And what actually was happening is that the entrepreneur, they say, "Well, if I become a multimillionaire now, who I'm gonna be, because I cannot be part of my community, because I grow with this community, and nobody's a multimillionaire, and I'm gonna become a different person, and these people are not gonna like me anymore, and what's the point of this? This is my community, and I love these people, and I don't want them to see me different." And a lot of internal conversation, and that was the main reason why the guy was not exiting the business. And I'm like, "Man, just go to the beach. Who cares?" But you know what I mean? But a lot. And what's going to happen with my baby? You see all this internal conversation happening, and through the entrepreneurs, and that could be the main reason why they actually the founder want to
Yeah, I
exit the
find
company.
that
I
the
find it crazy, but it's actually what you're sharing is happens, and a lot more,
yep,
that because that, like I said, the entrepreneur get so much attached emotionally to the business, then even it's difficult to let it go. Even with the books, the same thing. When I started writing books, and I presume that you, when you started to do your first film, it's like you don't want to let the book go. You want to make it
no,
better
you could
and make it
never. Oh,
better and make it better, and sometimes even you make it worse because you. So you need to know
yes,
when to let it go, and in the creative process, when you doing a movie or you writing a book, you want to make it better. You want to make it better. You're always creating, and at some point we have to take the decision that, okay, that's it.
totally right.
We have to let the book go.
You have to have a system that tells you when to let it go, because
Exactly.
you can keep
Otherwise,
farting
never
with it
ends.
forever. It'll never end. You have to have that. Going back to the number, I like my thing. Identify a need, know your audience, build a system, build your team, obsess on quality. I'm sticking to that, Harry. That's what I'm
I
sticking
believe
to.
you. I'm supporting you. I'm backing you 100%. Because also in films, Chance, I talk with a lot of people that raising funds for movies. I'm very involved in London in the movie film producing community. I hang around with them a lot. I I grew up watching movies, right?
Yeah, of course.
That was my mom's job, and
Oh, good.
so we had to, when it was Betamax and everything. My
You're
mom
showing
had
your
to.
age.
My mom has to watch all these movies and all type of movies. So we grew up watching 5, 10, 7 movies a day. My house was always full of movies.
It sounds like
Uh,
heaven. That sounds like
yeah,
heaven.
yeah. Even in Christmas in my house, we my mom is like this. It's better to order pizza and watch movies. You see, to the point that
Yes.
my mom doesn't speak English at all, not any single word, and I play movies to her in English, and after the movie finished, she tell me, "Okay, this is what happened. This person married this is the
Yeah.
murder, this is that." She tell you everything. And I said, "Mom, how come you understood the movie if you don't speak English?" And she's telling me, "Well, I don't speak the language, but I understand the movie language. So
Yes.
that's why I understand the movie without speaking the language." So what implies that the story has to be, if you conducted that story in the cinematographic language, also as supporting, it got really enriched. And let's face it, the I teach a lot using stories, and because the most engaging thing that you can have in the world is a story, because we want to stay there until the end. We want to know what happened, and this is what keep us hooked. So when we do our conferences, if I want to teach something, I always look. I say it in my repertoire of stories. What a story I have that I can share, that I have like a point, like the lesson, the what I want to teach, what I want the audience to get, and this has been working fantastic for us to become a great storyteller is really, really, you need to have skill. It never ends. But
Right.
if you have a story, good story, you will have definitely high quality content. So, how tough was to for you to design that process to get a great story out of each documentary?
Yeah, I would just go back to the repetition. It's the reps. The first 100, we may have had to film for 16 or 20 hours to actually get to a
Wow,
story.
very
But
good. Wow,
but the second 100, maybe it was 8 or 10 hours. Now
wow,
we're able to be more, in 3 to 5 hours of interview time. We'd
wow.
spend more time not filming, spend more time just sitting down with dad and visiting with him and letting him know his stories and how eager you are to visit with him so that his eye
It's comfortable.
his walls are going down and now he's ready to visit with you. So getting more efficient, the answer to how is repetition. Now, if you want me to get into the technical how, I'm happy to share that. I don't know how relevant it is. We have a literal system that's broken down. I mean, it starts from the first time somebody calls us, we have a CRM. From there, all the way through client review of the
Wow,
film,
that's
there are
amazing what you have
systems.
built.
Thank you so
Very
much, Harry.
impressive.
I'm proud of it.
Very,
Thank
very,
you, sir.
very impressive. Because, like I said, it sounds very easy, but I think that's the talent of every entrepreneur is to turn complex things in very easy thing. I think Steve
Can you
Jobs was
read?
saying
I don't
this.
know if you. I don't know if you can read that. My sign. It says simplify and solve problems. That is the
Yeah.
that is the secret to success. Simplify and solve problems. That's the entrepreneur. I
It's,
don't think you can see it because of the light, but that's my mantra. Simplify and solve
I can
problems.
tell. I can tell. Steve Jobs always was saying this, that the most complex things, the most difficult thing, it was to turn something complex in something very simple
Oh, it's
to do. And I think, my friend, that you have tick all the boxes because I'm very aware of the complexity that what you're doing, and to make that simple and scalable is really, really impressive. So, any
Thank you.
last message that you have for entrepreneurs out there
I
that they
will.
want to scale, they want to grow, but they have processes that they are long, that they are not efficient, that is expensive, and when they scale, they will be facing maybe a larger cost that actually the money that they're gonna make, because those systems, those processes are not refined yet, and that could be a very risky move, grow without having those in place. I remember when I had my company, when we have my first property business, we managed to sell over 5 million, and I remember that I was thinking, okay, this company, as it is a small mess. If I expand this, what I'm gonna expand is a big mess. So let me tie it up a little bit and write some procedures and get something in paper before we start to expand, because otherwise, what I'm going to expand is a big mess.
Yeah.
So
Any
what
advice?
advice do you have to
Sure.
people for growth? Yeah,
Yeah,
last word.
I would say this as far as for the entrepreneurs out there. The challenge is in your head. It's not in the world. It is hard. It is difficult. It is challenging. Whatever. It always has been. And in fact, if you could back up, you would see that information has never been more accessible. You can find out things. Communication has never been easier. You can find people, you can talk to them. So, in some respects, it's easier now to start something new than it has ever been. But I know you're out there, if you haven't done it yet, it doesn't feel like it. It feels hard as hell. That's inside you. And the fact that there are other people that can do it too, where it's easier to actually do. It is more competitive now. So you do have something worthy of complaining about because other people can do it too. So it turns into a battle of yourself. Are you going to let somebody else out hustle you? If you are, you deserve to lose. You got to out hustle them. You got to work harder. You got to work more diligently, faster, smarter, all those things, because the resources are there. They're right there. And you don't have an excuse for information or communication because it's accessible.
Thank you so much. And with that note, see you. Thank you so much, Chance. That has been very impressive. Yeah, really glad to meet you. And you are an example as an entrepreneur to follow. Because if you guys listen this broadcast again, there is a lot of knowledge and a lot of expertise and a lot of hard work. But if you manage to follow what we discussed today, you will be in a better way to grow and scale your business. And if Chance can do it, you definitely can do it too.
Dick,
So
you
thank
got
you
that
so much.
right.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so. Hey, Harry, and thank you, Harry. Thank you for being so energetic and fun and pleasant, and you're wonderful, wonderful at what you do. So thank you, Harry.
Thank you. Pleasure. And for all of you following the broadcast, see you in our next episode of Unstoppable, how a brave entrepreneur like Chance break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.